Hello, how are you today? Do you want to dive into a book that might just surprise you? Whether it becomes your next favorite or one you might skip, let's find out what readers are saying about it.
Edgar Allan Poe, who has 58 likes, says, I have never read Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator, so I decided to reread Charlie and the Chocolate Factory before plunging in. I haven't actually read this in my adult life either. There is no real need for a review here. Everyone knows about the buckets. Veruca Salt, Augustus Gloop, Mike Teavee, Violet Beauregarde, Willy Wonka, and the Oompa Loompas. The real surprise, for me, is that I can't give this a 5-star review because simply, for one of the first times in my life I can say that the movie is better. I am talking about the original with Gene Wilder. Not that mess with Johnny Depp. Don't get me wrong. The book is great, but the movie had more to it. To show a point, there are just 100 pages between entering the chocolate factory and Charlie leaving. It felt just a bit rushed compared to the movie. Disappointing that some of the movie scenes aren't actually in the text. Snodgrass does not bail up Charlie and ask for the recipe to the everlasting gobstopper. There are no geese laying golden eggs. Charlie and Grandpa never get close to being beheaded by an exhaust fan after stealing drinks. And the scene where Charlie returns the gobstopper to an angry Willy Wonka towards the end of the movie is not required. I may been seen here as being too critical, but this movie is still a favorite, however. As I said before, this is still a great book and one that any parent should read to their kids to encourage a vivid imagination. My copy has the awesome illustrations by Quentin Blake. P.S. The Oompa Loompas are smaller and different in appearance to those of the movie. Naira Hassan, who has 62 likes, says, Image error. Whitney Atkinson, who has 65 likes, says, the movie always fascinated me, both as a kid and adult, so I was really eager to jump into this and see if I could figure it out. But dude, I am still stumped. I am not sure if Willy Wonka is supposed to be mad, a genius, or a mad genius. There's just so many priceless lines of dialogue that the movies also captured so well. And this book is so whimsical and wholesome, yet dark, with sort of a fable-esque message about greed and whatnot from the Oompa Loompas. Songs, poems. I took a star off because of shaky footing with the portrayal of certain features in this book, such as recurring fat phobia, also present in his other books, and the weird savior portrayal of Wonka in relation to his using Oompa Loompas basically as slave labor in exchange for food and not much else. Maybe I am reading too far into it, but it seems like a very unethical capitalistic scheme, and instead of seeing Oompa Loompas as people eager to make some chocolate, they seemed rather treated as inferior. This is definitely not something 10-year-old me picked up on as a child. But I can't unsee it. Nonetheless, Jason Koivu, who has 77 likes, says, I was 10 years old and already the magic was gone from the Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny, leprechauns, Santa Claus and his buddy the Krampus. All was stripped of its power to enthrall. Heck, even sex had been demystified years prior. Then along came Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It gloried in candy, my number one passion of the day. But not only that, eating candy was the means to getting even more candy. Ah, the golden ticket. How I longed for it to be a real thing. I would have traded in a half-dozen Christmases for that. For those few who haven't read the book or seen one of the movies, finding a golden ticket in a candy bar meant you got to visit Willy Wonka's mysterious chocolate factory, which had been closed to the public and rumored to be run by a madman. Once poor and ever so grateful Charlie makes it inside the factory, everything comes alive. The amazing sights, sounds, smells and tastes. The sky's the limit, quite literally, we discover in the second book. Wonka's childlike imagination seems to know no bounds. But then things turn a bit queer. One by one, The children invited into the factory start dropping off, and in the most interesting of ways. This is a fight to the finish, and it becomes clear that there can be only one. I don't know what was better, the candy or the killing off of brats. But to be serious, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory brought back the wonder and excitement of my earliest memories. Thank you, Roald Dahl, for giving me back magic, the sweetest gift of all. Lynn, who has 199 likes, says, Gene Wilder, June 11, 1933, August 29, 2016. Goodbye, Gene. You'll always be Willy Wonka to me. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by Roald Dahl, first published in 1964, was an immediate children's classic and has inspired 2 film versions. I was surprised to see that neither of the films came close to Dahl's text. Dahl's Willy Wonka is a dark creature who killed children, crushed their bones and baked them into the candy bars. Just kidding. This is of course a delightful children's young adult fantasy featuring the inimitable Willy Wonka. The 1971 musical film, directed by Mel Stewart and featuring Gene Wilder and Jack Albertson, has long been a family favorite, and I grew up loving the songs and Wilder's performance. Interestingly, according to IMDb, so you know it's true, Peter Ostrom, the child actor who portrayed Charlie Bucket, only ever appeared in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. It was his only film credit. He is now a veterinarian. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Tim Burton's 2005 adaptation starring Johnny Depp and Christopher Lee was also very entertaining, and I have enjoyed watching it as well. So it was no surprise that I finally got around to reading Dahl's original novel. I was curious to see which film version came closest to Dahl's vision. And I can surprisingly report that though they both come close to the original text, both rely heavily on artistic license and the kind of freedoms a director will often take when translating a literary work into film. Brilliant, quirky, and original. This is a short work that a fan of the films or of children's fantasy literature should take the time to thoroughly enjoy.